All right, guys, welcome back. Multifamily Mafia. As always, I appreciate your time. Thanks for being here. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a break. I normally yell at you, scream at you, say bad things, offend you a little bit. Instead of me doing that today, I brought on a friend of mine, Jude Mendonsa, a.k.a. the BareFoot Millionaire. Jude, thanks for being on, man.
Hey, thank you for having me.
So I know you've listened to a little bit of this, but this is kind of the no bullshit. This is the real. I call it real estate, not the popular shit. This is like the actual stuff that legit people do. So that's kind of the direction that we've gone with this podcast. And you were actually the first interview that I've done. So I hope you feel special.
Nice. Heck yeah, I do. Like breaking the bottle over the ship.
Jeez. So, starting out, kind of the way I like to do it is give us a little bit of your backstory before you were, maybe in the business world and the real estate world. What did that look like for you? And, why business? Why real estate? You can do anything you want.
Oh man. Okay. So before I was even in business then, let me take you back. So when I was young, I always had visions of taking over the world. Like even at 6, 7 years old, I always wanted to conquer the world. Like that was my dream. I always wanted to be a warrior. Going through school, and even my teacher, Luke Wilson, you can look him up. He'll even back this up. Hey, what do you want to do when you grow up? I want to conquer the world. Like that's what I always said. So I always wanted that. Well, as I got older, grew some morality, ethics and stuff like that, realized probably wasn't good to pick up a sword, go around and chop up a bunch of people and take over the world. So, I was figuring out take it over in other ways. So always wanted to get into business, always wanted to do business and, do something big with it. Ended up starting my first business in 2009. And, I've been writing checks to myself ever since. I had a buddy introduce me to real estate about 5, 6 years ago, did nothing with it. After about 2 years, it was like, wait a minute, why am I wasting time working hard every day, building these things when I should put systems in place, get that residual income. So started working towards real estate, took some time, but got my first deal, which was a small apartment complex, and then blew it up from there.
Nice. And I've heard bits and pieces of your story, but you had a pretty rough go in life for a little while. You mind sharing a little bit about that?
Right. So, I had good parents. I had a good loving mom, good loving dad, but they didn't make the best choices. My dad in and out of prison. When I was 11, they ended up going on the run, and I ended up staying behind in Montana so I could be around my friends and school. Well, 16, graduated school, went to Portland, came back after a few months, and I pretty much spent from then on homeless till I was about 21, on and off doing drugs, just everything, not good to help me reach that next level. So finally, and this is a story I share quite a bit, I was starting to change my life around, starting to dig out of the gutter. Well, I went to McDonald's one day, and there was this guy, had to have been 45 or so, looked pretty haggard, and he was learning how to do fries from some 15-year-old kid. And that was my moment. That was, I'm not going to be that guy. Nothing against him or anything, but I knew that's not where I wanted to go. So that moment, I changed my life. I quit doing drugs. I dropped all my friends that were holding me back. I moved in under this bridge and spent a whole winter living under there while I was working at this restaurant just to sober out and everything. And, just started working hard from there, got into construction and just started moving up, doing everything that I could. Got to learn a lot doing the construction, which has helped me in the business world, obviously. But yeah, went through that, went through some car sales, and just kept doing whatever I could to learn more to help me better myself as I moved forward into life and starting my own business down the road.
For anybody that does not understand what Jude just said, living under a bridge in Montana in the winter will sure as fuck sober you up. Again, I think I said this on the last attempt that we had, but it was literally 24 degrees below zero when I woke up this morning. So I don't know if you guys have been messed up in your life, drugs, alcohol, whatever. That will sober you up very quickly. Trust me. Right. I've got my heat blasting, and I'm over here shivering like a little girl.
Yeah, I remember my very first night. I wasn't prepared at all. I didn't take any blankets or anything. So I was behind this restaurant, the Texas Roadhouse I was working at. I dug a bunch of boxes out of the trash can and like literally wrapped myself up in them. And I shook the whole night. And I was just thinking, like, is this worth this? Is it worth it? But it was, because it's what I needed to do to get out of the environment I was in, to make the steps to get me where I'm at now. So
this is going to be maybe slightly off topic, but I really like what you said. That this is what needed to happen to get me out of that place and to push me through where I needed to go. One of the things that really frustrates me with a lot of people in real estate is they're so freaking comfortable. Maybe they grew up, perfect little son or daughter. They didn't have anything bad happen. They started to go to college, whatever. And, now they're working for somebody and they've got a good job. They've got good income. They're comfortable. They've got a nice house and, an escalator. For me, like in the education realm, those are the hardest people to train. They know it all. They're too comfortable. They've got, not a big deal if I do a deal or not. The people that are saying, dude, this is where I was. This is what my life looked like, and I made a couple of very pointed decisions because I wanted something different. Those are the people that are doing deals. Would you agree with that?
No, for sure. And actually, I was that comfortable guy a few months ago. Around November, I'm at a point, I don't have to have my businesses anymore. I could just lay back and do nothing, but I have goals that I want to hit. And so I noticed through 2017, I was pretty stagnant. I didn't do much. So November came around and there was a bunch of Black Friday sales for different books, learning programs, different things like that. And some of them was probably things I even know, but I was like, you know what? It's time to quit being stagnant. So I spent a ton of money on mentorships, which just started reaching out, put myself in a kind of a financial bind doing things to increase my intelligence and my motivation stuff, but, did that. So I'd quit being stagnant. I'd start moving again, because it's very easy for someone to go, well, all my bills are paid. There's still money rolling in. I don't need to do anymore. And then, yeah, they do. You become stagnant. There's no other way to say it. You just become a log at that point. So I didn't want to be that log. So started stretching myself thin again. Now I'm moving again.
I love that, man. So you're doing you're doing so much more than I am, which I commend you for that. So you've got some commercial real estate stuff that you're doing. You've got a grow operation in Oregon. You've got, some cell phone stuff, you have a lot going on. How do you balance that? If you do, how do you balance that between I've got stuff that I have to do and I need to have a life, Right. We're both married, like that whole instance. Where's the balance there? Are we still working on that?
Right. So I've been blessed. God gave me a good, strong wife. She helps out with a ton of stuff, keeps me balanced. But beyond that, a lot of systems in place. Almost everything I do, I have partners on. I am a huge fan of partnerships. A lot of people, you'll notice, they don't like partnerships, and it holds them back because they try and do everything. But you look at like Shark Tank. All those guys have partners. They have no problem partnering with each other because they understand they each bring something different to the table. So my electronics business, have a partner in China. He is great handling the manufacturing and the shipping and logistics, things like that. So me and my team here, we just have to handle customer service and a little bit of marketing. So it balances it out, keeps it going. Properties, I have property managers. They do their part. They make sure things are filled, things are maintained. I just have to find deals once in a while, pick up a new property and then connect it to them. So you put systems in place and everything becomes streamlined, which, you've even done just recently on helping building your brand out with different things that you found. So once systems are in place, you're able to do so much more. Partnerships are in place. You're able to do so much more because it's just not you at that point.
And I don't know if you're taking the words right out of my mouth, man. Thanks a lot, asshole. Everything I've been trying to say for like the last month, you just summed it up. For those of you guys that have been following the podcast religiously, I've been talking a lot about scaling, outsourcing, putting the right people into place. I've got a little analogy that I use. Lone wolves they don't make it. Out in the wild. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie. What is it called? The Gray. Have you seen that, dude?
Yeah.
So like one wolf solo, I could take that wolf. Give me a pen or a stick. Like I'll take that motherfucker on. But there's a reason why wolves move in packs and they hunt in packs, because there's so much more strength there. So I've been trying to convince people like lone wolves will lose 10 out of 10 times to somebody like myself or like Jude that has built a system and has built a team in place. And like, now we can look at the business from a 10,000 foot view and say, look, this is what we need to focus on. This is where we need to be marketing. This is what we need to be implementing. And those are the people that can go from $100,000 business to, $1 million business.
Yeah.
A lot of people are probably listening to this podcast saying, well, shit, man, I haven't even done my first deal. So, I don't need to understand how to do this and this and this. And my point has been for the last couple of months is like, you're going to do that deal faster if you're putting these pieces into place. And, you can move quicker. Your gap from 1 deal to 5 deals will go so much more quicker if you've got people working with you. And I think a big part of it is the scarcity mentality.
Right.
Well, why do I need a partner in China? If I do it all myself, I can make 20% more. Or why would I ever partner with a property management company? If I just do it myself, I can make 10% more.
Right.
And guys, that is 100% the wrong mentality to have. Solo, maybe I can do, 75, 100 deals in a year. With my team, I can do much more than that. So keep that in mind. Any thoughts on that?
No, for sure. Because you can only ever give 100%. Let's say you have some crazy day and you've got more energy than you've ever had before. Okay, you did 110% of your normal that day. But even with a partner, if the partner's only bringing 50%, well, now you did 150%. You get the right team in place. They're each doing 25, 30%. Okay, 5 people. Well, now you did 300% mixed between all of you. Like totally. Having a property management company now frees you up to be able to go find more deals. It astounds me, and you see it a lot with new people. They'll go get a deal, like wholesaling. They'll get a deal and, oh, well, I don't have a title company yet. The whole time you're looking for that, why didn't you go do some networking for a title company? One of those title companies probably would have turned you on to a deal by now too. That sort of stuff happens. We have a friend doing a huge deal because of an insurance agent that he networked with. So building teams, building partnerships, all those things are so important out the gate. There's no reason to hold off on any of them. What's it take? 15 minutes to go to drive to a title company and introduce yourself? Boom, done.
I had a guy worth, he did, I don't know, 9, 10, $12 million in real estate last year alone, approached me, I don't know, a couple of days ago, and he was like, hey, I need your secret about this like relationship add value marketing strategy that you have. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? Like literally just go help people. If you mentioned title companies and property management companies, like if you want to build a relationship, go in and say, hey, look, my name's Jude Mendonsa. And what do you guys need? What do you guys need help with? Oh, well, a lot of our clients, they're trying to move their properties into 1031 or whatever. Like just by trying to help that problem, the relationship that you're building right there, it's so much better solidified. And it's not gimme, like, hey, give me deals. Like, this is what I need. It's like, look, this needs to be a mutual beneficial relationship where you're getting value and I'm getting value. What is that going to look like? What do you need in your company? Like, dude, I've made millions of dollars just saying that. And people have the wrong mentality when it comes to that.
Right.
Unfortunately.
That whole point there that you said about, helping people, that's the most important thing in business, no matter what business you do. Because right now in the internet world with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything, we've turned the world into a small town again. In a small town, if you would have opened up a hardware store and you were a jerk, they tell everybody nobody's buying your hammer and nails anymore. You're done. We're in that same world where people are going out and they're spreading the word about you instantly. Oh, that Jordan guy, he's such a jerk. He hosed me on this, blah, blah. Or, oh man, that Jordan guy, he came in, he helped me, he was offering things, he connected me with this person, and that spreads instantly. So yeah, like branding right now, all it is helping people. Just being honest and doing a good job, figuring out what you can to help that client, that person, even if it doesn't benefit you at that moment, they're going to spread that word instantly with everything we have going on now. And that's going to explode your business.
I'm trying to remember who said this to me. It might have been, I think it might have been Gary Vee. I really enjoy his stuff. He said something like a good review on average will reach 100 people, but a bad review will reach 250 people.
Yep.
So when I was first starting out, I think the majority of the people listening to this are probably like doing wholesaler and buy and hold. We've got a couple fix and flip people in there, but when I was starting out, my goal was, well, if I helped 25 people a week, whether I do the deal or not, if I do that, that's 100 people a month. That's 10,000 people a month hearing about me. Like, dude, this guy, like, we didn't even do the deal together, but he turned me on to Jude that was able to do the deal, or a real estate agent, or a handyman, or etc. And that word of mouth is what grew my company so much quicker. I didn't have money to send out a 10,000 person mailer, yellow letter, postcard, whatever. But I did have 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to say, hey, look, whether I do the deal or not, let me help you through this process. Here's some articles I found. Here's a video I made. Here's a podcast about how a homeowner can get rid of a property by doing these 5 simple tips and tricks, you know? So I built a company that way for free.
Yep. 100%.
So tell me a little bit about, I think you're in the building I'm talking about. You did one of the first deals that you did when you were in the Kingdom. It was either right before or right after you joined the Kingdom, was a strip mall. Right. And I really liked that deal because it was very creative. And me, primarily as a buy and hold investor, like, I wasn't even looking at those types of assets. So I was a little bit pissed off. I was like, hey, son of a bitch, what the hell? Like, that was a great deal. Are you open to sharing a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it started working on that one, and it took quite a while to do. You know, for all you people listening, once you start hitting those $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, $4 million deals, they can take some time to get done. It just is what it is, you know, more moving parts, whatever. So it just comes down to helping people again. You know, we found some people that they'd owned this building forever, been basically, you know, bought and paid for 1-2 times at this point, and they depreciated it the whole time. If they were to sell it out, the amount they would have had to pay back in taxes was astronomical. So it didn't benefit them currently without having a 1031 of something else to go into to just sell it out. So that's where we stepped in to help them with this problem. Hey, owner finance this property to us for however many years. You know, we set up good terms and everything. But once you find that 1031, and at 5 years, you know, it has to be from 5 years on, a little bit to protect myself. But once you find that 1031, you know, we'll work on buying you out at that point, or I'll have another investor come in to take over that owner financing for me. And, you know, you'll be able to go on. So that way, right now, they're bringing in income. They're not having to manage the property. They can go fly around the country, see their grandkids and everything. And they're protected in a tax asset where once they find that 1031, you know, they're not going to lose out like they did before. So it's just finding someone again with a problem and helping them with it. And with these larger commercial buildings, there's tons of opportunities for that. It's one thing, you know, paying back some depreciation on a $240,000 building. It's another thing doing it on a $3 million property, because you're losing a huge chunk at that point.
So let me get this straight. First of all, that's completely against my model. Add value, help people, provide solutions. Nobody listening to this episode is going to be like, oh, that sounds familiar. Like, I normally go out there and I poke people in the eye and I pickpocket them, you know, like, that's how I do my deals. So it's very strange that you would say that. But tell us a little bit more about the building, because it's not, I don't want to say it's unique, but, you know, it's probably a little bit different of an asset class than the people doing single family and multifamily. It's something that probably people don't even look for. So right. Tell us a little bit. I think I called it a strip mall. I don't know if that's how you would classify it or not.
So this one's kind of a duality property. You have your straight office buildings, which are just offices, and then you have your strip malls, which are usually like ground floor retail. This is one of the ones where it's ground floor retail and then a bunch of offices up above it, which for me, there was two purposes in buying this property. One, cash flowing, generational wealth building asset. I hope all those words fit together well for people. But the other one was, one of my companies, we needed a warehouse. We were going to be buying a property anyway. So this worked out. Well, I'll buy this, rent it to my company, and I have all these other tenants in here bringing in money, and it was an owner finance deal. So, I mean, win-win-win all the way around. Helping people, helped my company, and then helped me and my kids' futures.
I love it, man. And you've done a couple of creative deals, you know, which is cool. A lot of people, they think so cookie cutter, single family, multifamily, 1 unit, 2 unit, 4 unit, and to be honest with you, that's been my bread and butter through in my real estate, career. My main market, Butte, we don't have, 50, 100, we don't have those types of asset classes very often. So I love the creative side of it, man. And if in real estate, is that probably what you're going to continue to pursue, or are you going to switch it up a little bit?
So I have kind of focused out now where I'm looking for the larger multifamilies or commercial buildings, or, some mixture of both. Reasoning behind that, because I do have single family homes, everyone does, and you pick them up when you start out. Problem is with the single family homes, especially like in our market of Montana, where even at deals that we find them at, we pay more than like Ohio. If it's empty or if it needs work or something, and then having to re-rent it, go through all that stuff, it takes you this amount of time to replenish your loss. Whereas if you had a 4-plex or an 8-plex or a 10-plex, okay, 10-plex, you got to repair, remodel 2 or 3 units, it still cash flows. It still pays for itself. So you're set more to win on those. So I have focused my future on now buying those larger multi-class families. I think, probably 8 and up is what I'm shooting for now. I'd love to get some 80, 100 units. If any of you got any, want to hit them my way. But yeah, definitely going more that route. Commercial's fun too. With commercial, there's a lot of money opportunity in them that you don't get with your other properties. So with commercial, you have things like CAM and triple nets, which is where the tenant pays for maintenance of the building, insurance, taxes, different things like that. You get to charge them for when you asphalt the property and all that stuff. So it really creates a very nice cash flowing opportunity and the ability to keep your property always looking fresh, always looking nice. Now, a lot of landlords don't do that. They pocket it because they're scumbags and they turn it into dirt. Then one day we pick it up and, we take it back, give it the tender loving care. But yeah, there's a lot of opportunity with commercial when done the right way.
I agree. And I think we normally call that a value add play. So myself, Jude, the other people that we're involved with, like we specifically are looking for those types of property because we can see the end goal, whereas the whatever kind of asshole you call them, the selfish asshole, is looking at the short term. I'm going to pocket this. I'm going to do that. Because of that greed, these people are providing an opportunity for myself and Jude and others to come in and, get a deal that we can add value to over some time. And now, sometimes we create a little bit of a cushion on the back end. We call that appreciation, and we call that I never do this. Appreciation, and you've got some equity in it, right?
Yeah.
So you're whether you're adding value to the tenants and cleaning up the individual units, the exterior, the roof, like there's a lot of different stuff that we can do. And that's where we find our best deals. People that not only need help, but properties that we can add value to. A lot of mine in my market, one of the biggest problems are the tenants. So we built out a really good management team, and we've got good people that can deal with, difficult tenants, et cetera. We'll kick them out. We'll paint, carpet, get it to be a nice place again. And the value side, we're showing the bank, hey, look, when we bought this, it was bringing in $1,600. Now it's bringing in $3,200. We've doubled the profitability of this asset. And that justifies us to do like a cash out refinance or, loan against it and all sorts of stuff. So we've had a couple conversations recently kind of about your vision and your goal for mentoring people, helping people, and what does that look like for you over the next couple of years? Are you, going to be charging, $75,000 for a weekend event, or what do you have in mind for that?
No, that's just to hang out with me for half a day.
Oh,
yeah, so that's definitely where I'm looking at going forward now. As I've learned more, I've become financially free. I feel it's my duty, that God's given me the purpose where I should be helping others. If we see someone standing in front of a train, we tell them. If there's a flood coming, we should tell people. So with this knowledge and everything that I've gained, it's my duty now to start helping people, whether it's just helping them in their lives, helping them be better at the jobs that they have, or, helping them take steps to be financially free and enjoy the time with their family that they can. So, yeah, I've started booking speaking engagements. I've started working some smaller mentorship groups. We're going to be rolling out website in a couple months. And, yeah, there will be a charge. I don't know if it's, sorry, thinking on that, when you say the 50,000, 75,000, I mean, there are points to charge that much. That's one thing I appreciate about the kingdom, though, is the kingdom that you guys started was a way for the everyday man to be able to get in and start changing his life. Because not everybody can afford the $50,000 mentorship programs. But those do have their place, because some people aren't motivated unless they spend 50,000. Some companies, they're bringing like Tony Robbins or something, they're spending $1 million to talk to him for 10 minutes once a week. Like, those guys need that. So everybody's at a different plane. So, will I charge 75,000 for a weekend event? Maybe at some point, but there's definitely different ranges. And again, that's why I appreciate the kingdom and what you guys started. You guys opened up a gateway. Even Secret Entourage, opened up a gateway for the everyday man to get in, start networking with bigger people, learn from them, and be able to take himself 10x to the next level.
Well, kind of a term that I don't think we trademarked it, but a term that we've been using a lot is we want to be multi-level mentoring.
Right.
So if you're at day 2, I want you mentoring day 1. If you're at day 5, mentor day 1 through 4. And that's kind of what I've seen happening a lot lately, and it's exciting to me. We've got people that are starting brand new companies in the kingdom, and now they're mentoring and teaching and training, other people that want to pursue that. And, you're starting to do that with some of the business stuff. And it's just a fun, being an owner and like looking back and watching, like, not my kids, but you know what I'm saying? Like watching the community grow that way has been really, really exciting for me. I like that. And I'll share a quick story. I think I shared this once before, but one of my first mentors, when I started working with him, he said, well, I asked him point blank, I was thinking very, very one directional. I said, well, how much are you going to charge me? I thought I was cool. I was wearing a suit and had my hair slicked back, right? I'm like, well, how much are you going to charge me, bro? And he said, what did you make last year? And I think I was working up at the airport at that point. And I said, well, I made 30 grand. He said, double that. That's what I'm going to charge you year 1, 60 grand. And I was so floored, I didn't even argue. I was just like, oh, head down. Like I was blown away. Right. And he never brought up money again, like literally for the whole year. Never asked me for the 60, nothing. And I asked his assistant one time, I'm like, well, and at that point I'd made a lot of money, dude. I'd made, way more than the 60 grand that I owed him. And at one point I was like, I asked his assistant and said, well, what am I supposed to do with this money? And she's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, he told me it'd be double my income from the previous year. She said, oh, he's never charged anybody.
Right.
He's never charged anybody. It wasn't about the money. It was, I needed that kick in the balls to go out there and literally not only double my income to pay him, but I also had to live, dude. Like I had a house and a wife and 75 dogs that I had to, pay for dog food.
Right.
So it was just that kick in the ass, and I ended up donating it to his charity. That was kind of he wouldn't have accepted it, but that was like kind of my way of, okay, here we go. Like, I made so much more than that 60 grand I owed him that I wanted to bless somebody, right? Just a weird thing. So I agree fully. We specifically made the kingdom the cheapest mentorship platform out there, period. Like there's nobody cheaper. A couple people have tried, oh, instead of blank will be $5 cheaper. It's like they're no longer in business anymore.
Right.
But the reason we did that, like you said, is not everybody is in the same spot. Not everybody believes that they can do it yet. The biggest thing with the kingdom is like, dude, I'm going to tell you can do it. I'm going to encourage you to do it. Then I'm going to show you how to do it. When you do it, let's go to level 3. Let's go to level 5, level 10, So that's a lot of fun for me. Right. I'm going to throw this on you because I didn't ask you before. Right. Like most like professional interviews are like, hey, here's a list of questions I'm going to ask you. Nope.
I never get questions at any of my interviews. It's just always, boom, let's just talk.
I want you to speak to I know you don't quite know my audience, but if you could give a piece of advice, whether it's business related or real estate related to to an audience of entrepreneurs that are trying to make it, you know, what would that look like for you?
You know, there's always three things that stand out to me that people should do. So I'm going to hit all three of them. I'm sorry. You know, it's sacrifice, willingness to learn, and application. To do anything, you have to start sacrificing for it. You have to start getting rid of things that normally held you back, kept you from doing it. You know, again, me living under a bridge in winter in Montana, that was a sacrifice that I knew I had to do, because the hardest thing for, you know, addicts and people who do things, getting clean and free, is getting away from the bad environment that they're in. So having to make that sacrifice, you know, having to sacrifice, you know, going out to movies, playing video games, you know, going on long hunting trips, whatever it is that gets you, you know, you're going to have to sacrifice some things to do what you need to do to get to the next steps. So be willing to sacrifice. And it doesn't have to be forever, because you're working on financial freedom. That financial freedom is so you can take the 3-week hunting trip, you know, without having to worry about paying the gas bill when you come home or something. So sacrifice a little now for the big picture in the future. The next thing is the willingness to learn and be able to take direction. You know, get a mentor, get a program, get some books, and learn. Be willing to learn. You know, take that knowledge in. And when someone, your mentor, your teacher, your coach, whoever tells you, hey, you know, not that way, do it this way, be willing to go, oh, okay, yeah, you know, take that criticism, whatever, and be willing to learn from it and move forward with it. So many people hold themselves back by not having a willingness to learn, not wanting to be a sponge. You look at all the big CEOs, they always say, you know, they read 40 to 60 books a year. There's a reason for that. They're learning from all their peers, their rivals, everything, and they're taking that in, they're soaking it in, and they're changing themselves with it, no matter who it's from. So that willingness to learn is so important. And then the last one, application. So many people go to events, you know, they'll spend $10,000 on a bet, $60,000, whatever. They'll hire the mentor, you know, $50,000 for one day. What good is any of that if you don't apply it? Tony Robbins, he hits it really hard all the time. This works because it only takes an aha moment. It doesn't take 10 years of going through some sort of therapy to get you there. It takes that one aha moment. But when that aha moment comes, if you don't apply it, if you don't do anything from then on to help you move forward with it, you're going to fail. So application is so important. Listening to these podcasts, you know, everyone who's sitting here taking in all this information that you give them each time, they don't apply it. It does nothing. They read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and they don't apply it. They're still a poor dad. They're not moving forward with it. So those are the three things that I believe if you do, you'll find success. It'll happen. You know, whether in real estate, whether, you know, you're flipping fries at McDonald's, whatever, you will find success if you do those three things, apply them.
I couldn't agree more. I tell people all the time, if I could do it for you, you'd already be financially free, because I'm willing to do the work. You know, I'm willing to spend hours and hours and hours and hours, you know, learning a skill set, then immediately going and applying that. And that drives some of my business partners insane. You know, hey, I learned how to do this and I already did it. And they're like, what? Whoa. Jude, where can people find you online if they want to reach out, or if they want to hear more about you or follow your journey? Where can people find you?
So have a couple different options right now, growing into more. As I said, we have a website releasing soon, but you can find the BareFoot Millionaire on Facebook. You can reach out, email the BareFoot Millionaire at outlook.com. And then the Freedom Experience podcast, we have 3 episodes out now. We have 2 episodes dropping next week. Just went to PodFest, changed up my whole world and how I'm going to be doing things. So I'm actually applying what I learned, and there's going to be some amazing stuff starting to drop next week. So
perfect. And for everybody listening, I will throw that in the show notes, all 3 or 4 of those, so you guys have those readily available. Dude, appreciate it. Thanks for your time again today. And one of these days when I get like popular enough, I'll be on your show.
Yes. Perfect. Thank you, Jordan. Wonderful to be here.